For this night on What's Neat, I'm going to start over.
All right.
No, this is good.
2.
I know they want that blooper reel that we never give them.
Joe Colias,
Batacola.
Thomas Heil.
Heil.
Yeah, I know.
Heil.
Honestly, I don't think we need to do a special episode out of the blooper reel. Just do like a 0.5 with it.
Make Ken pronounce
what's
all
amazing?
the names properly.
I can't believe how crazy it is. It's nuts around here, and all of a sudden, 3, 2, 1, and it's all calm.
Yep.
Mike Kelley.
I turned my ringer off.
Oh, wait.
Okay, this is where it all calms down now, gentlemen. Let's calm down now.
Breathe.
All right, someone give us a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
For this What's Neat, we've got that beautiful auction ending tonight. We're going to end it live on the show. I've got Chris Palomares on board on Skype. We've got a wonderful author from my past here, plus my regular cohorts on this number 48 What's Neat This Week podcast. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at NCEDCC.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 48 for September 8th, 2018, guys. And tonight's going to be a very special show in that we've got that auction, which is going to end in about 4 minutes, and we're going to know how much that freight car sells for. That's going to help help our friend Lionel Strang.
Princess Margaret Cancer Center in Toronto.
Right. So tonight I've got look at this, Joshua Barton on the very end over here.
Hey, Josh.
Hello, hello.
I've got Daniel Coombs, our favorite, next to me right here.
Hello.
We've got Michael Budde. I've got a special guest, Mike Kelley. Michael Kelley, thank you for being here tonight. And on Skype this evening, we've got our wonderful Chris Palomares. Christopher, thank you and welcome.
Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So how long on that auction, guys?
2 minutes and 54 seconds.
That's really cool. So what can we talk about in 2 minutes except for the fact that, Mike, I know you've got some freight cars here right now you've been working on.
Yeah, all of a sudden I've gotten on this piggyback kick, and I started working on some flat cars and a bunch of trailers. There's such a variety of flat cars out there now. You can really make some nice piggyback trains, and also I've got about 10 flat cars of early intermodal flat containers before the well cars.
Oh, cool.
So all 89 foot. I got some OOCS containers, like you were saying, Chris. And a bunch of other, like Mitsui, and a bunch of old 70s ones. So that's kind of what I've been doing lately for the last few weeks.
That's pretty cool, Mike. I love it when you talk about your stuff. The roof weathering on the freight car is absolutely amazing. The trailer.
Yeah, trailers. Yeah, those things are pretty beat up.
What's that auction up to right now, guys? 370, and how many more minutes do we have left?
Just a little bit less than 2 minutes.
So 2 minutes.
2 minutes and counting.
In 2 minutes, I can tell you that we've been getting an awful lot of rain here from that tropical storm that's rolled up here into the Midwest.
We have.
And when we get a lot of rain, it doesn't matter how much I've dug out the foundation, I ended up hearing dripping water. And so the water was dripping on the layout. So the switchyard got a good bath today. I think there was a 3 scale feet of water on the layout flooding. So when I watched the nightly news, I could totally relate. But I know. How awesome is that? Where are we at on the time on that auction now?
Minute 22.
So, what do you got going on, Daniel? How is the new educational, you're going to where? Tell us where you're going to school, Daniel.
Rankin Technical College, located in Winslow, Missouri, for a 2-year associate's diesel technology program. I am unfortunately not able really to have photos or B-roll of it because, of
we
course,
don't need it.
I'm getting
The fact
educated,
is, you're going to
Yeah.
learn how to take apart a motor and put it back together with
Right.
no extra parts.
Yep, exactly. And I'm also just learning the basics of machining and, just general how to identify what bolts are what. And it's very complicated. Like, you need to know fractions. There's a lot of math involved, decimals, but...
You need this education
Yep.
for when you work for a model manufacturer someday, and you can help them do the translations into metrics.
Oh, metrics. That's what we did this week.
Talking
Get me
about
started.
computers, Thomas Heil came by tonight, and he's with us this evening. Thank you. We love you, Thomas. Thomas was over there working on that monster of a computer that he set up for us to work with in the studio here, and so far that thing hasn't skipped a beat, but he blew a lot of dust out of it tonight. Thank you very much for that continued maintenance. Thomas, where's that auction up to now, guys?
15 seconds.
15
15
seconds?
seconds.
What's the number right now?
370.
370 at 15 seconds left, and I'm looking at the clock delay. We're probably coming up on it fast. Shame it's not live.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's up to 400 right now.
$400,
I think it's gonna
7
it just
seconds
closed.
left. 400, going once.
Yep.
$400.
So
400.
somebody's
Wow.
got
400.
And you know we
whoever
don't have.
bid that,
Is
thank
it
you.
behind me? Is it? It's somewhere in the room down here.
Yeah,
Where
it's
is
up
that
there.
freight
Give everybody a
over
big
there.
round of
Go grab
applause
it.
for that.
Grab that
Yeah.
freight car and put it on the table here. All this, and then where's the proceeds are going to? Lionel Strang. Explain it to me one more time.
Cancer research, or his cancer walk, shall we say, for
Right.
research.
One
and
more year.
fundraising.
Right.
more year.
Fund it. The proceeds go to Princess Margaret Cancer Research Hospital in Toronto, Ontario.
How about
So,
that, guys?
And whoever
Awesome. This is the first
donated
time
that,
we tried
that's-
this. That's kind of neat. Thank you very much to Shane Wilson
Thank
over
you.
at scaletrains.com
Right, for
for
donating the
donating
freight car.
the freight car to us.
Right.
And as you saw in the opening tonight, if you guys watched the opening that we make, NCE. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. NCE, that wonderful DCC company that makes this Pro Power Cab that we've got, and I know. They are the new sponsor for the What's Neat This Week podcast starting this month. And welcome on board. We are very, very happy with this system so far. I've got to tell you what, when it comes to doing my job down here, running and doing videography, it does just what I need it to do.
Indeed.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
And now I can use the throttle system without even looking at it. I can use it without my glasses because I know what size the buttons are now. I get direction mixed up, but that's normal. So, ask Michelle. She could tell you about that. It's something like being on time. So tonight we've got with us Michael Kelley. Now, Mike Kelley, you go way back with me, brother. You are one of my favorite persons from a very early life. I knew you before I was married.
Yeah.
And in fact, you were in my wedding.
I was.
It was a beautiful day when I got to marry Michelle. That wonderful, was that 1990, I think that was?
You don't even know? Come
Yep.
on.
It's written.
Uh-oh,
it's-
Ken, you're in trouble.
I wrote it
He's
down.
got a tattoo of
man.
it on his back. So.
To make a long story short, Mike has always been a model railroader. He followed us through the Midwest Valley Modelers days when we were building that wonderful modular layout, and
Yeah.
you were there kind of helping along with that. I remember those days, Mike. And then you worked at the Great American Train Store that was down at our Union Station. How many locations did they have?
I ended up with 60.
60
Across the
locations.
country, yeah.
That was a pretty amazing endeavor, and you put a good portion of your life into that. You
15
learned a lot.
years, yeah.
15 years, Mike. But now you still have a passion for trains in that you do books.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about your book career briefly, Mike. You've got all the time you want.
Okay. Well, I started out when I was working for Great Train Store. We sold tons of train books, and I read tons of train books and decided that I wanted to write one. My dad shot a lot of stuff on the Wabash and around the St. Louis area in the 60s, and so I used some of his photographs for a starting point, and I came out with Wabash in Color Volume 2 with Morning Sun back in 2007. And then seeing the amount of work that Yanosy put into it versus what I put into it, I decided I'm going to self-publish going forward, and that's what I do now.
Cool, man. Talk right in the front of that puppy.
Thank
Thank you.
I did.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I did Rails Around Michigan in 2010 because I grew up vacationing in Michigan, and that was always just a fascinating place for me. And kind of did a tour of Michigan that whole summer, selling books and signing books and stuff like that. And it was a big success. I sold them out. And then moved on to Missouri in 2013, came out with Rails Around Missouri. And there's a couple of photographs that we're going to throw up on the screen.
Tell us about these gorgeous photographs.
And-
Are these some of your favorite shots that you've done, Mike?
These are some of the favorite shots that I've done. There's one of them is a shot of 4 Frisco F units leading
Yes.
a train across what is now 270. Back then it was called 244.
44, yep.
And that photograph was from 73. There's a great shot by the late Joe Coleus of a Mopac 484 down in DeSoto. and quite a few other really neat photographs that from places you just don't see, like the Rock Island across the Missouri. There's very little in print
Right.
of the Rock Island St. Louis line, and I've got a good dozen and a half photographs of that line in the book. That book also sold out within a year, but I did do a second production run, and that book is still available. The second run is still available in hardcover. You can go to my website to find that, michaelckelley.net.
michaelckelley.net.
Okay.
And you can find where you can get that book. Right now, I am currently working on rails around Indiana, because I lived in Indiana for about 4 years and got familiar with some of the places and locations and scenes. And this project is proving a lot harder because Indiana is far more dense in rail lines than Missouri ever was. There's so many lines crisscrossing Indiana trying to reach Chicago, or passing through Indianapolis to St. Louis, or across southern Indiana, and it's very dense, and there's a lot of lines that are gone now, and that's the era that I like to cover is 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, before the CSXs and Norfolk Southerns of the
Right.
world took over everything and make it all very
Right.
corporate. Rail lines that you don't see anymore, like the Monon, New York Central, the Wabash, Nickel Plate,
Yeah.
New York Central, things like that. And so that's the focus of that book is places that you don't see trains anymore,
That's awesome.
or things have
Yeah,
just
that's
completely
amazing.
changed. And then my fifth book is also kind of in the works, not as quickly paced as Indiana. Indiana is the main focus right now, but I also am doing rails around southern Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of drew a line across the state following I-70, cut it off, and everything south of I-70 is what I'm working on.
That's cool, Mike. We're going to keep an eye on out for these
Yes.
books because this is some really neat photos and a lot of neat stuff. And, dude, I know you're good at what you do. Now, Chris Palomares, brother, tell me what is going on in the beautiful cornfield out there.
Well, I've been taking advantage of the rainy past couple days and working on a few locomotive projects. So I'm down to 4 things on this one locomotive, which is kind of a milestone. And I sort of indulged myself into looking at, well, what's the next project? So that's what I've been doing today.
What locomotive were you working on?
I'm working on this SP7368. It's an SD40R. It had some unusual details on there, as it was like a second delivery of SD40. So it has the brake wheel on the rear porch, and it also has a high-low brake cylinder pattern on the side frames and stuff like that. It's been a fun project. I'm also doing something kind of interesting on the inside of the locomotive too, as far as the sound goes. So we'll see how that comes out, and I don't want to talk it up too much because it might be a colossal failure. So we'll just have to wait and see.
That's awesome, man. I love your smile, Chris. So now we're going to talk about this wonderful engine we've got. I think we've talked about this before, the SD60E. Chris, how is that engine doing? And how long before we see that one with a beautiful bow on it? Is that...
The 6920 will be out next year. We just took delivery of 911, the first round of black locomotives.
Oh, with the fire,
this has
yes.
The black locomotives out of this group have the early style roof, which has a Sinclair and a couple other antenna domes. The next group will have one of those. Will have like an early style roof and then 2 PTC style, a la the current sort of
That's
detail.
really awesome.
So.
Let me say that we've got some Bachman products on the table. These are some brand new, I think they're called Jackson Sharp, open-sided excursion cars.
Yep.
They're almost like the cars that you used to see when you rode the zoo train, but these are HO scale. They run on HO scale track, and these are some brand new paint schemes in that. Full interior, all the woodwork is painted. This is just a beautiful job by Bachman. And also Daniel is about to demonstrate a brand new locomotive from Bachman that we've got on the table.
Oh,
This
yes.
is exciting, and we're going to use the NCE power cab to do the demonstration because it works.
Now, real quick, I did buy my own NCE power cab. I tell you what, 10 minutes, I was already up. And running my trains.
$199, right? $199.
Yeah, but my hobby shop had it marked down a little bit.
Okay, well there you go. $199. The nice power cab system is it's a system where it runs your entire layout.
It does.
The cab, the little attachment that goes and plugs into your wall. That's
Yeah,
two
the
components.
PCP power cap panel. And
So
I think,
two components, and
Josh,
you're up
you
and
have it
running.
as well.
I have it as well, and I have the interface that lets me hook up to JMRI, so
Right.
I can do everything
Yeah.
on it. It's so good.
And I don't need to add that my father bought one, and he didn't know anything about DCC, but holy cow, he's bragging to me on the phone how much he
Wow.
likes it. So rock and roll, it's
Wow.
simple to use, and that's what I like about it. So I feel very comfortable talking about something that I like.
Anyways,
Tell
now-
us about this engine. This is called a what?
Okay, this is the Bachmann Trains ACS-64 Siemens locomotive. Amtrak's starting to roll them out in their fleet as of today.
These
and
are
there's
electrics. These are beautiful models, and these have been running on the
Northeast
lines.
corridor.
Right, 125 mile an hour general speed for these models.
Nice.
These
Indeed.
Right.
So,
It
all
also
right.
comes with a TCS Wow sound
And a Keep
sound
Alive.
system in it.
We figured it
It
out.
does. When
Keep-
you pick it up, it keeps running.
Yeah. All right, so there's. I just turned the mute off. So,
We've got sound in it.
yep.
It's got some amazing. I didn't know what electrics were supposed to sound like until I heard this.
Oh, and the pantographs, I should have pulled them up. They are hand operated, they're not automated. But who knows? Bachman could later on
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
be
neat.
automated.
It's pretty neat. So thank you very much, Bachman, for sponsoring the What's Neat This Week podcast. We appreciate all the cool things that you guys manufacture and bring in through Philadelphia out there. Thanks, guys. Now, Joshua Barton, you've been on an excursion. Tell us about something about a layout tour you got to go on.
Yeah, well, I went to the West Coast, had a great time, enjoyed a 2-week vacation from work, first one since I've started working with that company. So it was nice to get away for a while. I spent my 40th birthday in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, this is a Medford Park thing, right?
Yeah. So when I was on my journey, we went to a bunch of different places, and the first one I want to talk about is the Medford Train Park. Now they have 5 different clubs in this one park.
Man.
The park is just filled with just a bunch of different stuff. They have let's see, the Rogue Valley Model Railroader Club, the Medford Garden Railroaders, the Southern Oregon Live Steamers, the Southern Oregon chapter of the National Railway Historical Society, and they have the Morse Telegraph Club.
Wow.
So I'm sure we're going to be running a bunch of B-roll. But the Rogue Valley Model Railroaders is the HO scale, and it was absolutely amazing. It's the Pacific and Eastern from Medford to Klamath Falls. And it's as if the Great Northern had flourished instead of falling. And they're modeling 1989, and it's absolutely amazing.
Sounds
The
interesting.
work that they have, the log layout, logging area, and the buildings are just phenomenal. So, and then the person who let me into the club is Bruce Kelley from A Modeler's
Oh,
Life,
yeah.
if you guys know.
Right.
He lives out there, and he is the president, or he's in the council for the whole park, so he gets to tool around everywhere. So he took us on a live steam tour around the park. And then we saw the Garden Railroad, which is absolutely amazing. A lot of work went into that as well.
Hello.
And then
Boy.
the Historical Society has a Shay engine that they're rebuilding. It's one of 6 Lima Shays that are still in existence, and this is the
Wow.
Medco
Wow.
number 4.
I didn't even see
Wow.
it.
And it's amazing. I
want
have
to.
a couple pictures of that. They're hoping to get it running in the next few years, so it's absolutely breathtaking to stand in the cab of that
Yeah.
and just see how they used to do things. But everything's been redone from the ground up pretty much.
Yeah.
That's amazing,
wow,
man.
it
Joshua,
is.
it's awesome that they just like took you in just like a brother.
Yeah.
Did they recognize you said from the show?
No, that was one of the hobby stores that I went through. Bruce and I knew each other from other things, and we met up at the NMRA meet. And he found out I was coming out and invited me out to the park. And Sasha and I got a wonderful private tour of the whole place. So
Nice.
it
Now,
was great.
how was your live stream experience? Like, how did you think to actually, sit on a train, but actually know that it's being fueled by what the real steam engines are fueled by? I mean, how did that feel?
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. the sheer rawness of being in that engine and seeing all these valves and levers
Yeah.
that, you know, it's not like there's signs on it saying pull here to brake.
No.
You know, I mean,
Right.
you have to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
It's just,
That's
Yeah.
what makes it fun
know,
in live steam.
it is.
So.
It is.
Now, I do want to say before we got all of that rain here in town, I rushed very quick to try to get some film footage out there while the Garden Railroad was still trimmed and looked good of these beautiful USA trains. Am I getting it right? It's Trains USA. It's those gorgeous 3-foot long auto racks that we got in G scale. I know, Austin, you want one of those. And I know Mike wants to weather one of those, and we're going to work that out. But the fact is, I got some footage of these so I can make a nice little 4-minute video for the gentleman out there, just as a thank you for allowing us to show off your beautiful product on the show. And I think the video footage speaks for itself. These freight cars, it was just a sunrise. It looked great. There was a lot of good
Amazing,
footage
yeah.
there. And now I'm going to go back to Chris Palomares because I got a trick up my sleeve, and that is next in 2 shows. It is show number 50. And
That's right.
You threw out there the potential of doing a show anywhere you want. I have made arrangements with Bob Heil and the family over in Fairview Heights that own Hale Microphone.
Yeah.
And they are going to stop by the studio this week and set us up with 4 handhelds that we can just go live, or actually 6. So we can go live on location anywhere you want, Chris. We can get the sound. We can run as many cameras as you want, and it's all
Wow.
going to work.
Really?
And they're going to show us how to set it up, make sure it works before they leave. And then they're also going to show us how are these microphones hold up to what they produce. So I look forward to that. They've been in business. They used to do the sound for the Who. That's how
Yeah,
far
he's
back.
done a lot of rock
Wow.
bands.
Right, a lot.
He pioneered some techniques in rock and roll. That's a whole nother story. We'll have to ask
It's an
him about
amazing story. You can find that on their YouTube channel. It's also on Twit TV because he's very close friends with the head moderator on Twit. That whole endeavor, they set up their microphones for that new studio built. And they spent millions on that studio. And
Yeah.
God love them, we still get double the views.
If anybody remember Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive.
Oh, yeah.
Bob
Yeah.
Heil did the talk box work on that. He pioneered that.
So we can go anywhere you want, Chris. We can set up in the Big Boy at the Transportation Museum, wherever free parking is, and we are off to the races. I got to talk real quick about these 2 C39-8 locomotives that Thomas Heil brought over tonight.
Right.
Thomas Heil, right?
Yep.
Yes.
He brought over these engines
These
from
guys right here?
scaletrains.com. We love you guys. Thank you very much for sponsoring last month's show. And these are some beautiful engines that just came out. It's the first time ever to see them live in person. I really love the way they look. I remember when Jim Napoli painted some of these for Overland models, and they were gorgeous models, and these capture every bit of the detail that you expect. So thank you, Thomas, for bringing these by, man, and just beautiful models.
Working camera number 2
Back to
tonight.
Chris now, man.
All right. I've been kind of parsing through some of the suggestions, and I want to open up one more show for people to finish up putting in their suggestions for the 50th. And then next, I guess that'll be show number 49.
Next week's is 49, and
Yep.
the week after that,
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
number
For
50 will be on
we'll-
September 22nd.
We'll put out our 3 favorites and let everybody vote for them. And then on the 50th show, we'll see if we can execute it. So
That's cool. I've
that's
also had a lot of people contact with new logos, Joshua. They love the logo that you made of the train going around the globe, and I really love that one too. I really like it just the way it is. We've got some other ones from other folks. I think I've gotten 3 of them on the internet, and I'd like to use them all somehow. One
Yeah,
of them would look good on the microphones.
I think we might be able to work something out with multiple designs for
Absolutely.
sure. So
Absolutely.
thanks everybody.
Chris,
who,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just keep doing that tonight.
oh, you're on a roll.
Yeah. Hey,
No, I pretty much finished everything that I was going to bring up. So
So are you going to be here next week for next week's show?
I'm planning on it. Yes.
So that's going to be, you're also going to be here for number 50, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're going to be blessed with you 2 weekends in a row, brother. That's
Yeah.
going to be
That's
great.
awesome.
Let's get some
cool.
photos.
Yeah.
Let's do some great Athearn video and photos while you're here.
Chris,
Perfect.
Did you get that photo of that Santa Maria Valley tender that somebody sent? One of our listeners.
I didn't
It's
see
up
that.
in
No.
Oregon somewhere, and it's next to a highway, and he heard you talking about it. I sent you a message on your phone, so check that
Oh,
out.
okay.
But it's you can barely see the writing on the side of it, Santa Maria Valley. It's all rusty.
Oh,
and
cool.
stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, that's my old stomping grounds.
Right.
I went to high school and also junior high out there, and I just fell in love with the
Yeah.
local railroad.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of
right.
hard not to when you're
Exactly.
dealing with a little short line like that.
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay.
Have
Well,
we covered everything on the table so far? We've covered Bachman, Athearn, and NCE as our new sponsor. Thank you very much. I'm looking around here. The last thing, what else do we have?
Well, Ken, if you let me say another thing real quick.
Absolutely.
Well, I have finally, bit the bullet, purchased myself my own Spirit engine, the Union Pacific,
Oh.
honoring veterans
Did
unit.
you buy that at Mark Twain?
Well, I pre-ordered it. It's not in yet because it's the second run Athens releasing, but I'm to get mine soon. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm
Good.
excited about that. That is cool. Listen to my excitement about that. I've got one too. I know. I've run the
sounds
pants off
so
of it already.
enthusiastic.
No, truly, I am so not prepared for this show,
Oh,
and
I
it's
know.
almost over if you can believe it.
Right, I know. We somehow muddle through each time.
That's right.
I know. I'm so prepared for this one not to be over.
Hold on, Ken.
Well, actually, I want to give James Wright a shout out here.
Mhm.
He
James
just
Wright.
Oh,
posted
James
up
Wright,
a
buddy.
review just recently, kind of what Daniel was talking about, the Spirit engine being the SD70 ACE with LEDs. He's doing a review on the other road names for the SD70 ACE with LEDs. Go over to his channel and have a little look at that.
Okay.
I know what I was thinking now while Daniel taps me on the shoulder. I just finished the video for October What's Neat over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And it's really weird how many folks know about the podcast. Dion, you're guilty of that. You know all about the podcast, but you've never seen any of the What's Neat shows at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, which is a 45-minute show that you get how-tos, usually 7 segments, layouts, and everything else. Mike Budde segments. It's a great video every month in addition to this podcast. So just keep that in mind, folks. Yes, I had to say that. That was on my mind. There's nothing else on my list.
Well,
Well,
okay.
Ken,
Your mind is empty.
Ken,
Yes.
before
the floor is all yours,
before
guys.
you go on.
I'm just going to sit and
All right,
watch.
great.
I'm
Because
watching.
the point of the podcast is to be theory. It's all ideas.
Right.
And then Ken's monthly show, the one that comes out on Monterey Hobby, is application.
Right.
It actually
Right.
shows
Very
you the
much
how-to
so.
behind our ideas that we talk about throughout the week. So they go hand in hand.
This is more.
Right.
This is more raw. We have guests like Mike. We've got a live studio audience tonight. Everybody make some noise. They are people here. See, and it happens every Saturday night spontaneously, and it's really
Okay.
nice. Who did that? Is that my wife? Thank you, Michelle. So, I mean, the fact is, this is more unrehearsed. This is obviously raw, but it's more updated with news. What's Neat is in production, 30 days ahead of time. But there's a lot of work to putting together a show. That show for the NMRA Kansas City show, which is October, is 52 minutes long, and I haven't done the opening yet, so figure another 4 minutes for opening. It's almost going to be an hour. And it's going to be like that the rest of the year over there because we've got so much content. In November, we've got Jeff Parker from Central Valley showing us how to build his Central Valley bridges. He spent 3 days here building bridges. Plus, I have made a lot of progress on the layout in the last couple of months. So we got a lot of material in the can. Plus, we got a lot more special guests. I had Stephen Priest call me up the other day. Him and his son would like to come and be a guest on the show,
Great.
which I would welcome that very much. He's a very well-spoken leader in our industry, and he's done some great things for the hobby. Thank you, Stephen and Cynthia Priest, for what you've done for our hobby. So let's think about wrapping it up, Daniel.
All right. So, all right, guys, thank you for watching. Give us a like, dislike, leave comments.
No dislikes.
Because it's a happy, best hobby in the world show. Close it out so I stop talking.
Oh, so now you want me to close it?
Yeah, right.
Okay. This is podcast number 48 for
Yeah.
September 8th, 2018. And thank you guys again for whoever.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks
you,
to Mike Kelley.
Kelly for
Yeah.
coming, special
Yeah.
guest. And
Thanks for having me.
And again, what was that ending bid on Lionel Strang's?
think it's
$400.
$400. So I want to thank you guys.
Yeah,
for
whoever
donating.
bid on
Yeah.
that, thanks a lot. That's really
Thanks.
that really means a
Lionel's
lot.
gonna really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. So, all right, guys, we'll hopefully have a good evening. And how about we go run some trains, guys?
Let's run trains.
Yep.
That sounds
Let's do it.
good.
Right.
I tell you what, I was almost asleep.
Thank you.